Imagine being a teenager, left completely alone on a Friday evening in a quiet, newly purchased house on the edge of town. The only sound is the low hum of the television. Then, a heavy metallic bang echoes up through the floorboards from the basement. Your immediate instinct is to rationalize the noise. It's probably just the washing machine settling on an uneven floor. But then logic catches up. The washing machine has been sitting outside for 2 days waiting to be repaired. Nothing heavy is down there. A second later, the power cuts out. The entire house goes pitch black. But the television keeps playing. Every light in the house is dead, yet the screen glows and flickers like nothing happened. Curiosity overrides common sense. Grabbing a flashlight from the kitchen drawer, the narrator walks slowly toward the source of the noise. At the end of the hallway, the narrator realizes they never actually turn the knob. The basement door is already standing wide open. Between the power-hungry electronics and the self-opening door, the house is no longer operating on standard logic. These small ruptures in reality make the simple act of looking down the stairs feel like an isolation from the world outside. The descent begins. The wooden stairs groan underfoot, and the ambient temperature drops sharply with every step down into the dark. A highly specific smell fills the air. It's a mix of old wood, wet concrete, and rotting mold, layered under a scent that is deeply, confusingly familiar, yet completely unplaceable. Sweeping the flashlight beam across the floor reveals rows of dusty, forgotten boxes. Looking at them, the narrator realizes they can't actually remember if those boxes had always been there, or if they just appeared. Deep in the darkest corner, a distinct noise cuts through the silence. It's the strained, quiet sound of someone desperately trying not to breathe. The severe cold, the bizarre smell, and the sound of suppressed breathing stack up rapidly. This sensory overload triggers an intense panic response, priming the body for flight even before the eyes can confirm the threat. The flashlight stops moving. Tucked into the farthest corner is a towering entity, standing at least 7 or 8 feet tall. Heavy shadows hide most of its facial features, but the beam clearly catches a massive, deeply knowing smile. Pushed to the limit, the narrator forces out a whisper, asking who is there. The entity tilts its head and replies, "You came back." The phrase implies a history. It suggests the narrator has stood in this basement before, even if they have no memory of the encounter. The agonizing staring contest shatters when a cell phone violently vibrates in the dark. The glowing screen displays a missed call from an unknown number. A second call comes in immediately. Answering it yields only static, followed by a voice whispering a single command: "Don't look behind you." In response to the call, the towering figure slowly raises an elongated arm and points directly over the narrator's shoulder. Turning around reveals absolutely nothing in the dark, but turning back reveals that the entity has crossed the room instantly, standing uncomfortably close. At this range, the horrific details are clear. The entity has no eyes, just empty holes, and the smile stretches far beyond the limits of a human jaw. Pure, blind panic takes over. The narrator sprints up the stairs, not breathing a single breath, and violently slams the door shut. By manipulating the phone and closing the physical gap in the dark, the entity forces an immediate, unthinking escape. Standing alone in the quiet house again, the immediate aftermath is marked by a sound echoing from the other side of the freshly slammed wood. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Minutes later, the parents return to find their teenager in tears. Between heavy sobs, the entire impossible event is recounted to the father. The father listens quietly, but instead of comforting or investigating, he looks back with genuine, complete confusion and asks, "What basement?" He leads the way to the hallway. Where the basement door stood minutes ago, there is only a perfectly smooth, solid brick wall. No doorframe, no handle, no seams. In this architectural wireframe of a 2-story house, the red highlighted basement takes up a massive physical footprint. But this house was built directly on a slab. The subterranean level is filled entirely with solid ground. Descending those stairs was structurally impossible. Encountering a physical threat in the dark is a common fear. Realizing the solid architecture of your own home can shift, deceive you, and erase a room entirely destroys any foundational sense of reality. Jump forward to the present day. The sharp details of that night occasionally blur and fade from memory, but one constant remains: waking up at 3 a.m. to the auditory hallucination of 3 slow knocks. Recently, though, the haunting escalated from a phantom memory to a physical alert. A single missed call appeared on the phone from an unknown number. The caller left a voicemail. It contained exactly one sentence: "You forgot something downstairs." The narrator moved away years ago, kept their new address a secret, and changed phone numbers 15 years prior. A digital trace or a physical address didn't matter. The caller didn't need a number to find them. It leaves us with a stark warning. Sometimes a terrifying door isn't built into the permanent architecture of a house. It manifests out of thin air, appearing only when a nightmare is patiently waiting for you to step inside.